Well, it's been over 24 hours since the 7.8 magnitude earthquake ripped through Turkey and Syria. And those on the ground are now looking at how they can help those severely impacted. And joining us now live from Turkey with an update is Zein Almoghraby, the Director of International Programs at Journalists for Human Rights. Zein, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I'll start off with yesterday. Where were you when the quake hit, and when did you realize just how severe this was?
I was at my hotel, and it happened around something around 4 a.m. So I was sleeping, waking up to the shaking bed, and then the walls start to crumble. Hearing children yelling and crying and shouting. Barely managed to walk down the stairs. Thank God, I was not damaged. I was not harmed. And the situation kept on escalating in a sense of the police, the sirens kept on going, ambulance one after the other were just speeding up, trying to catch up with what they can do on the spot immediately. To be honest, gotta give them that, they did it. And then we went into kind of confusion stage, meaning that not knowing what to do next, because the aftershocks, the shock waves kept on happening about every 10 to 20 minutes. And each one you would assume it's going to be the second earthquake. And unfortunately, that kept on going between 4 a.m. all the way till noon, and then afternoon around 1 p.m. The second earthquake happened, and that was not just a short one. It was really strong, but it was less severe than the first one. And at that moment where it was decided that all of the buildings that are deemed unsafe to be evacuated immediately, all the high-rise buildings to be evacuated immediately. So the government acted quickly on that. But we were left with not a lot of options, but to stay mainly on the streets till we figure out a place to find that is dry. Because to point out something very important, before the earthquake, for 2 days, it was snowing nonstop. And in addition to the snowing, it was also raining afterwards. So it was cold and wet outside. So it was like all of the elements of nature coming together to make it really difficult for everyone.
Yeah, and definitely impeding those rescue efforts that are happening right now. I don't know if you've been able to go out and take a look at the damage. Are you seeing rescues happening around you in the area where you are now?
Yeah, I would say definitely it's day and night. Close to where I'm staying right here, there's two buildings that collapsed, and it was really a shock because they're not old buildings. They're not even like poorly built buildings. They're really supposed to be, at least in theory, good buildings, and both of them collapsed. And the equipment is there, the rescue teams are there, all of the efforts are being put there. And they're trying to now, they're really at a race with time because every hour it means less of chance to save people. They're doing their best at that. And in addition to trying to save people under all the collapsed buildings, there is also dealing with the shelters and providing people with basic services, knowing that most of the not most, actually, all of the shops and any kind of access to food is very limited at this point, and also drinking water. So there's all of these challenges are going to be in the coming 5 to 6, 7 hours, something like that. It's going to be very, very critical situation. Try to save people and try not to create another disaster or another crisis by lacking access to health services and to food.
Now, for you, you've actually been able to take shelter in an independent radio station where you are right now, which is incredible that you're able to find somewhere safe. The next step now, that's not as easy. Like you said, there is an access to food issue that could become a problem. I know a lot of areas are dealing with electricity issues as well, and we are in the middle of winter. Have you been given any guidance as to what that next step will be for you?
Yeah, so the shelters right now, so we're talking about mosques, stadiums, schools, everything is turned into a shelter because, again, at least the city, Gaziantep, where I'm at right now, buildings are about 6 to 7 floors usually. So you're talking about a lot of people who are evacuated and told not to go into their homes. So everything has reached its capacity. And when you look at the available flights at this point, whenever there's a flight outside of Gaziantep or anywhere else in Turkey, it's immediately booked. everything is being booked within minutes because everyone is trying to get out as soon as possible. The shelters are overcrowded. They've reached their capacity. Some of the shelters, I've checked some of them last night, in the middle of the night almost, and some of them had running water, electricity, and now they do not have drinking water or running water, and some don't even have water or electricity, so practically just a roof over your head. So everything is being now pressured. Everything is really reaching its critical point, and you can see it in the people behavior trying to get out of the city as soon as possible. And even the Turkish Airlines, all of the Turkish-related kind of institutions or entities are trying to facilitate that. They're not trying to stop people or in any shape or form from leaving because it would make it much easier to reduce that pressure.
And Zein, we're out of time, unfortunately, but I just want to ask you your thoughts about this incredible death toll. We have now surpassed 5,000, and we know that those numbers are likely going to go up.
Mm-hmm. So now the estimations are saying something that most likely it's going to reach the 20,000. And unfortunately, and here's something very important to think about, we are talking about southern Turkey, and we're also talking about northern Syria. In northern Syria, there's no infrastructure. There's not enough equipment. The infrastructure does not exist practically in an area that has been going through war for the past 10 years. The scary numbers or the estimations are going to be shocking, and hopefully it won't be the case. I really pray that it doesn't happen, but we don't know what's going to happen there because the efforts to rescue people are very slim. It's not up to the task. So that is going to be very alarming. And the ones are coming from here every hour right now. It's just going to increase. And this is why all of the efforts, all of the support, all of the help that is possible to provide, whether to southern Turkey or northern Syria, should be put in place, because now it could mean a life or death.
Right. It'll save that time. Yeah, it'll save that time. Definitely will save lives. Zein, thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Please stay safe, and we'll keep in touch to see just how your journey back here to Toronto unfolds. Thanks, Zein.
Thank you.